Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and I make videos about quilting and my creative life. And if you watched the video last week, you might know that my sister and we took a little staycation in Wales, and whilst we was there we made a quilted dressing gown. I'll leave the link to that video down in the description box if you haven't watched that. But we also took a trip to a shop called Calico Kate, which is in Wales, and it's located quite close to the Welsh Quilting Centre, which is kind of like a quilting museum of all things Welsh quilting, which essentially is a type of hand quilting that they do, a specific type of design that they put on their hand quilting. So we didn't manage to visit the Welsh Quilting Centre this time around because we was on the deadline, because we wanted to make our quilted dressing gowns. But I have visited the Welsh Quilting Centre last time I went, which I think was in September, and it is brilliant. I did make a video on my trip to the Welsh Quilting Centre. So many times I've said that now. The Welsh Quilting Centre, I made a video on it and it's on my Patreon video. I think it was titled something like My Holiday to Wales. And I am also going to be doing a 7-day free trial over on my Patreon, so you can check it out, check out the videos, have a little binge watch if you wanted to. And if you decide you like the videos, you can stick around. I really appreciate that. Or of course, you're always welcome to cancel your membership within that 7-day window and there'll be no charge for it. So back to Calico Kate. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the shop and what it's like there. I'll also share with you some footage of the shop. And then at the end, I'm going to share a book that I purchased from there that I'm really excited to do some quilts from. So Calico Kate is in a really small village called Lempeter, I think it's pronounced. I'll leave the address down in the description box below, and I would definitely recommend putting it on your quilt shop bucket list because it is the biggest quilt shop that I've ever been to, but also have got the largest variety of different types of fabrics. And if you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know that my sister and I have completely different tastes in fabric, and she said that's the most fabric that she's ever seen that caters to her tastes outside of going to a quilt festival. Before I move on to that, a couple of people said, will you just address your sister by her name? She doesn't want to be named on the channel, and I think that's fair enough, so I will just refer to her as my sister. And if I did use her name, people would be like, who is that? So she's my sister, and she doesn't like sharing her face on the channel. She's happy with me sharing her projects, snippets of what she's sewing, that type of thing, and you will occasionally see that type of thing on my channel. And in a future video, I'll be featuring her dressing gown reveal. I'll be trying it on. It might be a little bit too small for me, but I'll try it on and I'll model it for you. So that'll be in an upcoming video, so stay tuned for that. So just a few pointers on that. We're making quite a few sidetracks, aren't we? I should have wrote down everything that I wanted to say. Anyway, back to Calico Kate. They have 15 rooms of fabrics. I think one of those rooms is literally just a tiny little room that you just step into, but the rest are rooms of fabric. So you walk in the front door, they've got all like haberdashery things. So they've got rulers, they've got threads, they've got loads of different brands of threads, Gutterman, Madeira, I think, just loads of different brands of threads. They've got Orifil. So that's in the first room. They've got some fabric collections. I think they're maybe like seasonal ones. They look to be quite spring summery. And then you go through, they've got a little bit of knitting and crochet. Not loads of wool, but they've got enough if you was into knitting and crochet. Down the corridor, opens up, there's another room. I think you go down the corridor, and these corridors are stacked of fabrics on either side, shelves. Just amazing. You go through a corridor and then there's 2 rooms at the back. There's a Christmas room, I think, downstairs. No, that might actually be upstairs. No, it's downstairs. Christmas, and a batik room. And the rooms are just completely full of fabric. And what I also really love and appreciate is they've got lots of samples. They've got loads of samples, even if it's just little tiny cushions of the fabric sewn up, or they've got like dolls and teddies made out of them. But then they've also got lots of quilts on display, and hopefully I do that justice in the video because I always love looking at samples. And sometimes I feel like looking at a quilt sample in a quilt shop makes me want to just change everything that I like, every type of fabric, and just go down and buy that one. It is really inspirational to see fabric made up in shops, I think. and also just to see the techniques and all that type of thing. I just love it. So then you go upstairs. There isn't any lift access or anything that I'm aware of, but there are handrails and things up the stairs. So you go up the stairs and there's got to be maybe another 5 or 6 rooms upstairs. There's got to be. They have a Tilda room, and again, outside of like the Festival of Quilts, it's the most Tilda that I've ever seen in one place. It was just like, wow, it's amazing. And they have bolts, and then they try and keep the fat quarters stacked as well. There's cutting tables all dotted around, so you don't need to worry about the staff are great. What else was there? There was like a room that was like blues and whites. There was a room that was my sister's room. There was loads of flannel in there, loads of mode of flannel, loads of earth tones, burnt oranges, autumn colours. They've probably got a name for all of the rooms. There's a novelty room which had loads of like retro prints. I don't know if they'd had them a long time or they had bought them like that, but they were just brilliant retro stuff in there. You just have to go if you ever get the opportunity to go. So let's roll with a little bit of footage and I'll show you around the shop. So I hope you enjoyed looking around Calico Kate. We also went into the shop at the Quilting Museum that was, it's like a few doors down, but let's just say next door. We went into the shop there. They've got a shop of like just little handmade trinkets. They sell some vintage things, they sell some patterns, but also they sell used books outside the back, and they're like £1 or £2 each. So that's really good. We went there and bought some books because I just think they're brilliant value, aren't they, for patterns and things. So I bought those. And the exhibitions do change from time to time in the Quilting Museum, so it's definitely worthwhile checking that out. I'll leave the link to their website as well. But also in the village around, there's loads of places to grab a bite to eat in little independent cafes and pubs. And there's also loads of charity shops where you can buy second-hand bits and pieces. And I bought a full carrier bag's worth of just things that were from the charity shops that were sewing related. There must be a big sewing community there because there was loads of wonderful bits. For example, I got this whole load of Pearl 8 thread that was £6. I've put it in the jar myself and I just thought they were gorgeous to display in the sewing room. So there was some great bargains. But I won't go into too much as to what I bought at Calico Kate, but I will feature them in upcoming videos. Maybe at some point over the next 5 years I'll get round to sewing some of those purchases. You know what I'm like. I did say that I was starting machine sewing so that I could sew as fast as I purchase fabric, but I fear that only the purchasing has ramped up. But let's discuss the book that I bought. This is the pattern of books that I purchased from Calico Kate. So this is English paper piecing by Vicky Bellimo, I think it might be. So that's the front cover. You might be able to get it secondhand online or purchase it on Amazon. If I can find it on Amazon, again, I'll leave the link down below. But what I really liked about this book and what drew me to it is the EPP quilts are combined with traditional piecing, so it makes it go a little bit faster. So I thought this is great. Not all of them are in the colours that I would choose, but I like to put my own spin on it anyway. For a pattern, I like to adapt it. So there we go. So that's an example. So that's combining like half hexagons, I think. They're called spinner guns in this pattern. There are some that are just English paper pieced. But for example, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And I really like the red and white colour scheme on that. I think I could be tempted to do that in maybe blue and white. What do you think? So it's essentially just a load of borders, which I really like quilts that are like that. Just border after border. There's a couple more that I wanted to show. This one, I loved that. So that's EPP and applique in that one. Oh, a lovely take on a Dresden. Well, that was a really imaginative way. So perhaps some of these will make their way onto my wall just here behind me because I haven't done any on there yet. There's one more that I really liked and it was this one. And I love that because of the type of prints that they've used, I think. So in there they've got full instructions, they've got the templates, but you have to trace them and do them however many times you need. But if you did want to see the full haul of everything that I bought from Calico Kate, I did put it on my Instagram and TikTok account. On my Instagram, there's what's called highlights. So there'll be little circles at the top of my profile and they'll have a title. There's one titled Calico Kate and you'll find everything that I bought in there. I think in that playlist I've also put what I bought from the charity shops as well, from the surrounding area, because they're all within walking distance. So do let me know if you've been or if you're going to add it onto your bucket list. It's always great to try and plan a vacation or a holiday around there so that you can kill two birds with one stone. That's what we initially did when we went in September. It was me and my partner and we actually went by accident, but it was like a 20-minute detour. So I says, oh, come on, dragged him round. He doesn't mind. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the virtual tour around the shop, and until the next time I see you, you take care and happy quilting.